The day after Lewis Hamilton Day, Scuderia Ferrari is focused on finalizing the last details in anticipation of the debut on February 19th. Under the technical leadership of French engineer Loic Serra and the various departments, the 677 project should feature several elements of continuity and others of significant change. The Ferrari 677 will be full of innovations, with the latest rumors suggesting changes beneficial for Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. First, the main focus will be on the chassis and suspensions. Although the name of the new car coming from Maranello is not yet defined, we can confirm that the chassis and aerodynamics project has been completed for some time. The Maranello team is currently developing the car on dynamic test benches to extract the best basic setup for the 677. This task is necessary due to the switch to the front pull rod layout, which has required more learning time than expected, with the former Mercedes driver overseeing the entire dynamic test. Positioned on the dynamic test bench, which simulates the many track conditions such as banking, acceleration, braking, and corners, this has allowed the chassis department to better understand the new suspension layout. The new Kinematics forced a remodeling of the upper and lower wishbones, aiming not to lose the strengths of the old pushrod system. With more anti-dive, a more inclined upper wishbone, and a different angle, the Ferrari engineers and technicians aim to maintain braking force and performance in slow corners. At the rear, the changes will be minor but still present. Due to a slight variation in the wheelbase for a more balanced weight distribution, the rear end has been tweaked to accommodate the evolved pull rod. The suspension system, which surprised in 2024 for its wide range of adjustments, still showed some limitations in certain areas. With targeted interventions on dampers, bars, and the third element, the new Ferrari single-seater for the 2025 Formula One Championship is expected to have a wider operating window, even with increased aerodynamic load. At this stage, it is also worth pointing out that the Haas VF-25 will be a car that, for the first time, distances itself from some of Ferrari's technical choices. Over the years, the American team has consistently chosen to adopt the latest specifications from Maranello for various components of their car, sometimes even aligning with their aerodynamic choices, especially during the ground effect era. However, this year, the VF-25 will not entirely follow Ferrari's lead, because, unlike the Italian side, which has opted for a pull rod front suspension for 2025, Haas will not modify the front suspension layout compared to last year. The information had been reported by the British media a few days ago, and it has now been confirmed by team principal Ayao Komatsu, who admitted that the 2025 Haas car will keep the pushrod front suspension from the VF-24, setting it apart from Ferrari. The change in layout has aerodynamic reasons and plays an important role, as it works closely with both the airflow from the front wing and influences how the airflow moves across the rest of the car. After technical assessments, including the time needed to revise the design for just 1 year before the 2026 revolution, Haas decided to stick with a familiar solution, maintaining the 2024 specification. Visually, the new Ferrari SF-25 is expected to undergo significant changes, with notable modifications to the front wing nose and bodywork. Frédéric Vasseur's statement citing 90% new should be taken with caution, as some elements of continuity will remain, more than just 10%. When a component is called new, even a single bolt can make it qualify as such. The 677, ready for some weeks now, is expected to have a nose similar to the one debuted on the Haas VF-24 at the United States Grand Prix weekend at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, attached to the main plane. There will also be changes to the flaps and their geometries, marking a clear evolution from what was seen in 2024. Among the elements of continuity, the curled structure seen in Singapore between the end plate and the wing mainplane should remain, along with a better deformable structure for the flaps. Through improved and cleaner management of airflow directed towards the center of the car due to the pull rod suspension, Ferrari has heavily worked on the bodywork. The Sidepod inlets are not expected to undergo many changes, with targeted adjustments aimed at optimizing cooling and aerodynamics. With more space between the suspension arms, the airflow towards the undercut is more open on the 677. This is in line with the management of the airflow directed to the floor based on the experimental floor seen at the Las Vegas Strip circuit. Changes are also expected to occur in the aerodynamics of the engine cover, where engineers have worked to optimize the heat exchange of the power unit. This area showed its shortcomings during the 2024 Formula One campaign, with Enrico Gualtieri, the technical director of Power Unit, pushing hard to improve both performance and reliability. Engine maps have also been optimized for a noticeable gain in qualifying lap times. The Italian media asked for a specific time gain in tenths, but to avoid creating expectations, the source said they are very optimistic, with a significant advantage over the SF-24 car from last season. The radiators are expected to maintain the same layout, but some may be positioned higher, behind the air scoop. This will allow for a centralization of the masses, useful in dynamic terms. The day after Lewis Hamilton's arrival at Ferrari, the Maranello team's work continues therefore at full speed. Wearing a long overcoat, dark suit, and tie with a white shirt, Lewis Hamilton presented a chic look as he posed in front of the former home of Enzo Ferrari, the founder of the famous prancing horse marque, according to photos released by his new team. The British driver then went to the Fiorano circuit to meet team boss Frédéric Vasseur and Ferrari's managing director Benedetto Vigna. At Maranello, he was also able to talk to several members of the team with whom he will be working over the coming weeks, including Riccardo Adami, who will be his track engineer. Lewis Hamilton will step inside a Ferrari Formula One car for the first time on Wednesday at the Fiorano circuit, where he will be allowed a maximum of 1,000 kilometers with the 2022 model. Meanwhile, the team led by Frédéric Vasseur is pushing hard to optimize the 677. Amid rumors and confirmations about the new suspension layout, the first indications of the time gains achieved by the Ferrari 677 have also begun to emerge. The 2025 Formula One season looks to be very exciting, with several teams likely contending for the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships. Among Ferrari, McLaren, Red Bull, and Mercedes, the first two are considered the most likely to make another performance step. This is because in the final part of the year, they demonstrated having the most complete package available. Additionally, the development approach taken by these two teams has proven to be effective, with excellent simulator-to-track correlation. With significantly fewer on-track and factory testing hours, Ferrari and McLaren seem to have optimized the process of designing and testing updates. The starting point for the 2025 F1 car, which we detailed in the first part of this video, will be crucial. Discussing how much the car Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc will drive this year has improved, the Italian media has asked for clarification on the actual gains of the 677 compared to the SF-24. The source indicated that much of the improvement came from the front suspension, which, with the pull rod layout, unlocked significant potential. A greater airflow passage between the undercut and the side pods allowed the Maranello team's technicians and engineers to optimize aerodynamics in this critical area. All these elements work in conjunction with the changes made to the power unit and rear end. In comparison with Alpine, which reported an estimated gain of 0.5, it was confirmed that the gap to the SF-24 is substantial, with an upward trend. However, no specific figures were provided to avoid creating unrealistic expectations.